Hey guys, what is going on? Welcome to another Pygame tutorial video for Pseudo 3D. In this video, what we're going to be talking about is giving the illusion of depth. So to do that, we're going to create this like fake z variable, and for now, we're going to define. First, we'll define z underscore move as equal to 0, and then we'll also give a z location equal to 1 for now. So we'll assume that the default loading here and size of 200 is like the full size, right? That's our full-sized cube. So what we're going to do now is, I guess what we're going to need to do is add a couple more keys. So we're going to go here and paste, and then instead of key right, we go key up, and then key down, and all caps key down there. And then we're going to say z underscore move, and z move, let's say key up, we're like moving forward, or we're really, I guess, moving towards the cube in theory. So we want z move to actually be a negative here, and then if it's key down, then we want z move to be positive. So the thing of this is like you're here, you're at like the face, right? In the face, we're saying like the max value would be 200. So to move out, we're starting at the closest point to where all the axes collide. So to move away, or we would add the location of our square to the z variable and have it move out, and thus get smaller. So we've done that, and now what we want to do is basically right here we're going to say z underscore location and then plus equals z underscore move. Now eventually this is going to get like wacky because we don't have any checks and balances here. So for example, we could do something like if z underscore location is greater than, say, 200, then we're going to say z move equals 0, and let's go ahead and cut that, paste, something like that, that's good enough. Z location plus equals z move. And then what we might want to do is we could say, before we actually call the size of the object, so as we're moving away from it, we want the z location to have an impact on the size of our square. So for example, we could say current size equals, and then we'll just say the int value, because otherwise this may return a float. The int value is size divided by the z location times 0.1, something like that. And I really want this to be its own little bit. Okay, something like that. And then when we go to actually draw the square, we'll say, instead of, well, it's got its location, but then we have current size, something like that. So let's save and run that and see how messy we got there. Okay, so we don't have any key out, or the key ups are not set, so let's go set key up, up or down, and then we'll say here z move equals 0. So just change that pass to be z move equals 0. Let's try one more time. So it's rather big, but as we zoom out, you'll see that it gets smaller. And then it only gets so small, but obviously we could zoom in a little further, or not. Apparently it's stuck at this point. Move out, and then we can move back in. But as you'll see, you're not quite convinced, right? You're not like, wow, we're actually getting closer to that square. You're not like totally buying it. Unless, of course, the square is like perfectly in the center, and then you're like, okay, well, we're heading for the top left corner. But it still doesn't feel quite right. So what would change that? Well, as you zoom in, right, or as you get closer to this square, obviously it's flipping here, but that's just because our values are getting too big. But anyway, as you approach this square, you would expect the left-hand side of the square to, like the right would expand faster, but the left-hand side would expand slightly. So what we could do is we could, close out of this, and as we move, we could say, okay, well, we want the left-hand side to expand a little, so we would say x move equals 1, something like that. Or actually, I'm sorry, it would be like a -1. And this is as we're approaching it, so it would, be a -1. And then as we move away from it, it would also be a +1, as in, as this part is shrinking quite fast, the other side is also shrinking in. And then also don't forget to specify your x over here, so x move equals 0. So we'll save and run that. And okay, that's not I'm trying to think why that wouldn't have modified. X move, and then we have, okay, current move. What? Okay, well, we'll just call this current move then, I guess. I swear we had called it X move, but okay. So replace X, or what we had typed as X move with current move, and let's try it one more time. Right. Okay, so that's a little better. For some reason, it still wants to move on us. Did we not? Right. There. Okay, now let's try this one last time. Okay, so we zoom out, and it gets smaller, and then as we zoom in, it gets bigger, and obviously one side gets bigger than the other one because that's just, we're approaching it. And we keep getting stuck. It's because that 200 thing I set right here. Should never have done it. Are you now? And we're back. Okay. Pygame got really angry at me. Or actually, that was Python. It just closed everything. Okay, so anyway, so now we have a decent idea of some basic 3D elements here. Now the only thing I want to add is how, this is currently a 2D square that we're approaching, but you can see how it kind of gives the feeling, as you move away from something, it moves towards the center of the screen, but like the horizon, right? Let me close out of this. Okay, let's run that one more time. And then, but here's one of the problems, though. If say we're over here now, and we get bigger, now it's moving towards the screen. As we get smaller, it moves away. So that's obviously a little bit of a problem, depending on what side of the center of the horizon you're on. You would need to have some conditionals there. But also, there's a few other things too. But what we're going to move on to is converting our square into a cube, and then from there, having that cube do what I'm trying to say is, depending on what side it's on, that's the way it kind of acts. And then also with a cube, as you move a cube over here, your perspective of that cube is very different than if you move the cube over here. The sides and stuff that you see are going to differ. So anyways, that's what we have to talk about coming up, so stay tuned for that. Otherwise, as always, thanks for watching.